Okay, Brad, just talk about what happened that day and what you recall. And
Well, I was driving up the road from that direction this way, so I was on that side of the truck, and I saw a black figure on the far side of the creek down below there, and I thought it was a bear because it was low down on the side of the creek. But I stopped the truck and slid across the seat to look out this window, and as I did that, the figure got up and walked up that slope, which was not treed like that at the time. It was clear cut. And it just walked up the slope.
clear cut like it is above.
Yeah,
Okay.
like that up there.
What year was this?
78.
78.
And, I had a good look at it for maybe 150, 200 yards before it got into the trees up there. And, as I looked, it obviously wasn't a bear. It stood up and it walked up that hillside on two legs, looking like a hulking, great, hairy football player.
And were you able to watch it as it went all the way up this slope,
Yeah,
or?
until it disappeared into the trees.
Okay.
A distance of maybe 150 yards or something like that.
Okay, so the trees, like where you see it's mainly green now, that those trees were there, but below it was more
Was clear.
more clear.
Yeah.
Okay.
And for me to scramble up that would take 5 minutes.
Yeah.
And this
Oh,
figure,
it'd take me longer than that. Huh?
this figure was up there into the trees in less than a minute.
All right.
It just walked up the hill.
And in your opinion, was it covered in hair?
Yes,
What color was it?
jet black. That's why I initially thought it was a black bear. It had that almost shiny look. It was a nice sunny afternoon, and it had that that sleek, shiny hair look.
And in your opinion, did it walk the whole time upright?
Yep. From the time it stood up on the creek bank until it disappeared in the trees, it was on its legs.
Okay.
Not down on all fours.
What time of year was this?
Summertime. June, July, August, sometime in that.
So the leaf trees were in full leaf mode at that time.
Yeah,
Okay.
but there were no intervening trees down this slope, and the other slope being clear cut just had waist high brush.
Right. Okay. And the figure, when you saw it, did it appear to see you? Did you think it saw you, or did?
I think what happened is it heard the truck stop in the gravel here,
Yeah.
and that caused it to stand up and go away. I don't know if it actually ever saw me personally. It probably saw or heard the truck.
Right.
And it was just making itself go away, and it never turned and looked back at me at all. The whole time it was just walking away from me.
Okay. Because that river at this point is quite loud. I can hear it from here.
Oh yeah.
Just quiet for about 5 seconds so you could hear it on the camera. And we're a good 500 feet above it.
Yep.
Yeah. That's Norris Creek down there, correct?
Yeah. I don't think we're quite 500 feet. That's probably about 100 yards, 300 feet.
Yeah. Okay.
And the
Yeah. Okay. I'll go along with that. Yep.
And the distance it walked up on the other bank was that again, or maybe a little bit more, 150 yards.
All right.
But it was just this break in the trees like this. I saw the figure at the creek. It walked through the clear cut, and that was it.
What were the weather conditions? What was it?
A sunny summer afternoon.
It was a beautiful day, in other words.
Yeah. The old pickup had no air conditioning. It was summer. I had both windows down, so when I slid over, I was actually looking out the door.
How long do you think you saw it for?
Less than a minute, more than 30 seconds.
Okay.
The distance it took for it to stride up there. And of course, I didn't go to look for tracks because I'm not going there. I would break a leg trying to get down there.
Yeah, and there doesn't seem to be a point in the river where there's access. Don't know about back then, but now the closest road is at least a kilometer behind us.
Yeah.
The closest trail that goes down to the creek, and it certainly doesn't go down to this point. So
No, there's no trail or anything down below us. But it was exactly this scenario. And the distances are right here. This really looks like it was the spot.
Okay. Now, looking back at it, and all these years you've had to reflect, do you think you could have seen a bear that day, or a man in dark clothing?
No, not a chance.
Yeah, and in your opinion, it was definitely a Sasquatch.
Yep. Had it only been the black figure down at the creek, sure, it's a bear. That's what I initially thought. It's when it got up and walked up the hillside that it was not behaving bear-like at all. I've seen hundreds of bears, and when you see a bear walking away from you and you're looking down on it, it looks like a torpedo.
All right.
You know, the shoulders flow into the neck, flow into the head, into the nose. This thing was great big square shoulders with a little pointy head in the middle.
Right.
Just not bear-like at all.
And jet black in color.
Yep. With the sun on it, like the sun would have been up behind us here. You know, it was like a spotlight on it virtually.
Right. What time of day was it? Do you recall?
2, 3 in the afternoon.
Okay. Why were you in the area in the first place?
Because I love coming up these roads.
Yeah. So
I was in my work truck and I'd done a job up in Agassiz, and I was on my way back down to Surrey, and I didn't have to be home. I didn't have any more work to do. I was done for the day. The logging road, like I do now. I just love getting out here.
Yep. That's what we're doing out here today.
I guess we could call it scouting for campsites and, bear hunting, deer hunting coming up in a month or so, and that kind of thing.
And do you think this is probably the spot it was?
It certainly fits what I remember from back then.
Yeah.
You and I have been up here a few times, and I've been watching for the spot.
Right.
And it just caught me as we were driving back. The relationship of the road, the river, and the hillside over there is just right.
And of course, there's been a lot of change, because this is British Columbia, and trees grow fast. Logging areas are clear cut, or 2 years later filled with small trees.
All these alders down here are, you know, they wouldn't have been here at the same as those on the far side over there. You know, had that been logged, that's done. And the few evergreens that are standing on that bit of slope would have been this tall at the time.
And since that day, Brad, have you ever seen anything else that comes remotely like that over your since?
Nope. Other than footprints that I found also in this valley.
And you had John Green investigate those, didn't you?
Yep. I picked him up at his home in Harrison the following day and brought him up here.
Now you see above that's a more recent logging operation. I'd say at least a year or 2 years, because I could see the small greens coming back. Yeah.
And that sort of is what the first 100 yards up the other side looked like at that point.
All right. So just tell me the scenario again. Were you coming down the road or heading up?
Heading up the road, that's to my left here, to
Yep.
your left.
Heading north.
Yep. So I was on the other side of the truck, but as I came into this slight curve here, I could see down into the creek, and I saw a black blob down on the far bank of the creek there.
Was it right at the water's edge or close to it?
Within a foot or two.
Okay.
It wasn't in the water, but it was like on that gravel bar down there.
All right.
And so I stopped and slid across the seat to get a better look, because by the time I parked here, the door of the truck is blocking my view down. And I slid across to the other side and looked down, and as I was doing that, it stood up and walked away from me up the slope. And it was, you know, I'd heard the stories all my life from the time I could read of sightings in the woods and so on, and I had an open mind on the subject, and that moment was, oh my God, they're real. You know, it was far enough away not to be frightening, and close enough to see what it was, kind of the perfect situation to emphasize reality.
Mm-hmm.
If I ran into one by 6 feet in the dark, that would be a different story. That's about the kind of distance you want to see a grizzly bear at, too.
Yeah.
Not up close, just far enough away.
Far enough away, it's not
Yeah.
going to bother you. Yeah. Okay, it is March 18th, 2018. Thomas Steenburg here up Norris Creek Forest Service Road with Brad Trent, reflecting on his Sasquatch sighting in what year was it again, Brad?
1978.
1978 during the summer, late June, July.
Because of that sighting, I identify myself online as BC Witness.
BC Witness. Now he's just giving himself away for all.
Yeah. Wow, you said my name already.
Roger that. Brad, do you wish to remain confidential?
Pardon?
Do you wish to remain confidential?
No.
Okay.
I want my fame.
Okay, there you go.
I want my notoriety.
Okay, you can't sue me now.
Pay me the money.
Oh, I never offered you.
See how the sunshine is hitting that
Yes,
now?
yes.
That is sort of what I was looking at, right down to the
And of
creek
course,
there.
at 2 in the afternoon, it would have been more direct, and the shadow of these hills behind us wouldn't have blocked it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, it's kind of neat the way it does that. Yeah. Or the shadows from those mountains up there, actually.
Yeah. And of course, this was midsummer, so the sun is much further
Yeah.
this way.
Mm-hmm. All right, Thomas Steenburg signing off. Oh, let's turn that on.